Welcome back. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button before the footsteps start. That's the first line I said in the intro of my video. I said it like a joke. Like a little horror YouTube tease, but I wasn't joking. This time, I really needed someone to hear what I was going through, because the footsteps had already started. It was nearly midnight when I hit record. My apartment was dark except for the soft lamp on my desk, and my camera's red light blinked like an eye trying to stay awake. Outside, the Boston winter wind kept brushing against the windows, making them click in a steady rhythm. But the footsteps, those were inside. I cleared my throat, leaned forward, and tried to keep my voice steady. I know this sounds insane, I whispered into the camera, but something is walking above my apartment. And there isn't supposed to be anything up there. I turned the camera slightly so the ceiling was visible, a smooth stretch of white paint. Nothing unusual, nothing threatening. Then a hard, slow thud landed above my head. I flinched back. There, I whispered. That's what I'm talking about. For the past 3 weeks, I heard those footsteps pacing above me every single night. Heavy, purposeful, like someone angry was marching back and forth. At first I thought it was a neighbor, maybe a big guy with a restless dog. So the next morning, I went to the management office. A bored teenager behind the desk didn't look up from his phone when I told him. Someone's pacing in the apartment above mine. There is no apartment above yours, he said. I blinked. What? I live on the 3rd floor. Yeah, but the 4th floor is closed. It's been vacant for 6 years. Why? I asked. He shrugged. Renovations started, then stopped. Floors removed, pipes exposed. It's not safe. No one can even walk up there. I opened my mouth, then closed it because I didn't know how to respond to that. No floor, no tenants. No access, but footsteps. That night, at exactly 12:41 a.m., I heard them again. First soft, then heavier, pacing the length of the ceiling like someone dragging boots drenched in water. That was the moment I started recording everything. I needed proof. Or maybe I needed to convince myself I wasn't losing my mind. So here I was, whispering into my camera while the ceiling vibrated with each step. This has been happening every night, I said. Same time, same pattern. Like it's walking the same path over and over. A loud crack snapped across the ceiling. Dust fell. I covered my mouth with both hands to muffle a scream. It sounded like something had jumped hard right above me. My voice trembled. I don't know how to explain any of this. There's nothing up there. Nothing should be up there. The footsteps moved again, this time slow, and directly over the spot where I sat. Thud. Each step felt like a hammer hitting wood. I stood up so fast the chair fell behind me. Stop, I whispered, even though I knew that made no sense. Just stop. The footsteps stopped instantly. A ringing silence filled the apartment, thick and suffocating. The kind of silence that makes you realize you're not alone. That something is listening. I swallowed hard and said into the camera, okay, I think it heard me. Then, and I swear I'm not exaggerating, something dragged across the ceiling, like a palm. A long, slow stroke, inches from my face. I took a step back, then another. My heartbeat thudded in my throat. This is real, I whispered. This is really happening. I didn't want to believe it. I didn't want to believe anything could be up there. But then my phone vibrated on the table. A text from the property manager. We checked the 4th floor today. No one can walk there. The beams are exposed. Be careful. Be careful. What did that even mean? The ceiling groaned again, deeper this time, like weight shifting. Like someone was kneeling. I grabbed my coat, my phone, and my keys. I didn't bother turning off the camera. I walked to the door, trying not to make a sound. Then I froze, because the footsteps followed me. Every step I took, something took one right above it. I ran. I didn't even lock the door. I just ran down the hallway and into the stairwell. But as soon as I stepped into the cold stairwell air, I heard one last sound from the apartment behind me. A slow, deliberate knock from the ceiling itself. 3 knocks, right above my bedroom door. I whispered into my phone's camera, voice shaking, "If no one can walk up there." Then something that's not human is walking above me, and then the recording ended. Just like that. And that is where the real nightmare actually started. I didn't go back to my apartment that night. Not after those 3 slow knocks from the ceiling, from something that didn't have the right to exist. I sat in my car across the street, engine off, fogged windows trapping my breath. Boston traffic hummed in the distance, a reminder that the rest of the city was normal, alive, unaware of what was stalking the dark above apartment 3B. I watched my window for hours, waiting for movement, for shadows, for anything. Nothing. Just that soft yellow glow I always hated because it flickered like an old film reel. Around 4 a.m., exhaustion pulled me under. I slept in the driver's seat until sunlight tapped the windshield. When I woke, my phone was almost dead, and I had a new notification. New recording saved. 3B motion detected. 3:17 a.m. My heart dropped. I had left my indoor camera running. Hands trembling, I pressed play. The video started with the empty living room, quiet, still dim. The lamp flickered the same way it always did before burning out. A small glitch, nothing unusual. Then something shifted. Dust drifted from the ceiling. Like vibrations, like something was walking above again. My breath caught. The camera mic picked up a faint tap, 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 then a slow drag. Exactly the same sound I'd heard the night before. But the camera caught something my ears couldn't. A low, heavy exhale. Not quite human, too close to the mic. Like something was leaning over the camera, just out of view. Then the screen fuzzed. Static. A glitch. Dark for 2 seconds. When the image returned, I felt everything inside me freeze solid. Because the camera was now tilted upward, pointed at the ceiling. I didn't move it. No one was inside. But something had shifted the lens. The ceiling filled the entire frame. Smooth white paint, nothing unusual. Then a small, perfect indentation appeared in the paint, like a finger pressing from the other side. Then a second. Then a third, sliding slowly across. I slammed my phone face down on my lap. My skin crawled. My heartbeat punched my neck. There was no floor above, no boards. Just open beams, dust, and tangled pipes. Nothing should be able to press down from up there. Nothing. I needed answers, not guesses. Not theories, answers. So around 7:30 a.m., after 3 coffees that did nothing, I walked into the management office again. A different guy was working today, older, tired, gray hair, thick glasses. He looked surprised when I told him where I lived. "Oh, 3rd floor, right? 3B? "Yeah," I said. "Listen, I need to ask you something. How unsafe is the 4th floor, really?" His eyebrows knit together. "Very, after the accident." He stopped. My stomach tightened. "What accident?" He shifted uncomfortably, lowered his voice. "Look, that hallway was supposed to be rebuilt years ago. Construction crew pulled out after something happened." "What happened?" I asked again. He sighed. "One of the workers fell through the beams, straight down. Broke his neck." My mouth went dry. "And that was exactly above my apartment?" "Yeah, right over your bedroom." My entire body went cold. The man lowered his voice. "You're not the first tenant to complain about noises. But every time someone checks, there's nothing up there. No animals. No squatters. No signs of anyone. So what do you think it is?" I whispered. His eyes shifted away. "You have 10 minutes. I'll unlock the 4th floor for you. After that, I'm not responsible for anything you do." My breath caught in my chest. I didn't want to go up there, but I had to. Somehow, I needed to see the empty space for myself. We walked down the hallway, past peeling paint and dim lights, toward a metal door with a faded sign. Authorized personnel, only he unlocked it with a keycard, then stepped back. "You go alone," he said. "I'll wait downstairs." That should have been my first warning. The stairwell to the 4th floor was colder. Not winter cold, wrong cold. Stale, unmoving air. No sounds, no echo from my steps, like the space swallowed noise. The hallway above was stripped bare, beams exposed, pipes hanging. Sheets of old insulation scattered like molted skin, and no floor. Just long wooden planks laid across beams to walk on, like a thin skeleton of what used to be a hallway. I stepped carefully, heart pounding. My bedroom was directly beneath me now. I could see through a gap in the beams, the faint glow of my lamp, and that's when I felt something. A shift in the air behind me, a weight, a pressure, like someone tall was standing inches away. I didn't want to turn around, but I did, slowly, terrified. Something waited at the other end of the hallway, just far enough to be hidden in shadow, just close enough to be real, long, tall, unmoving, not human. It didn't walk. It didn't breathe. It just waited. I whispered, "Who's up here?" The beams groaned under my feet, then under its feet. I wasn't alone. And the footsteps began again, slow, heavy, coming toward me. The footsteps were slow at first, one heavy step, then another. Each one made the beams beneath me tremble. I backed away, careful not to slip between the planks and fall through the open frame straight into my own apartment below. The figure at the far end stayed swallowed in the dark, too tall, too still, like a silhouette glued to the wall. "Stop," I whispered, though I didn't know why I expected it to listen. It didn't stop. It only grew clearer. As it moved closer, the shadows peeled off it, revealing long limbs, shoulders hunched as if its spine had broken once and never healed right. Its head hung forward, face angled down, as if staring through the beams at my bedroom beneath us, like it missed the place it died. I stepped back again, my foot shaking on a loose plank that groaned under my weight. "Please," I said, the word barely air. "Stay there." It didn't. It took another step. A heavier, sharper one, a step that landed too hard for any normal human foot, on beams that shouldn't support anything. I finally forced myself to turn and move as quietly as I could, balancing on each plank, heart bursting in my throat. I didn't dare look back, but I heard it, step, 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 coming faster. I moved across the hallway like a tightrope walker, gripping a hanging pipe to steady myself. The doorway to the stairwell was 10 feet away, 8, 6. Then a deep, guttural sound rattled through the walls. A breath. Not a growl, not a sigh. A breath, long and dragging, like lungs filled with something thick and cold. I made the mistake of looking back. It was closer now, much closer. Close enough that I could see its legs, impossibly long, skin stretched tight over bone, feet dirty with plaster dust, leaving prints on beams where no print should stay. Close enough that it tilted its head toward me, and I realized its face wasn't angled down. It didn't have one. Just a smooth, pale stretch of skin, cracked like old drywall. My breath caught in my chest. If I screamed, I'd slip. If I froze, it would reach me. I bolted. My feet slapped the beams, my hands gripping pipes for balance as the doorway grew larger. And behind me, the rapid pounding of something chasing me. Even the beams shook under its weight. I leapt through the stairwell door, nearly pitching forward down the steps. The door slammed shut behind me with a violent clang. For a moment, everything went silent. I stood on the landing, gasping, chest aching, hands shaking so hard I couldn't reach for my phone. Then a single, heavy strike hit the door from the other side. The metal dented inward. I screamed and ran down the stairs 2 at a time. When I reached the third floor landing, I nearly collided with the building manager. "Are you insane?" He snapped, grabbing my arm. "You weren't supposed to go all the way in. I saw something." I cried. Something was up there. Something tall, something wrong. It followed me, his face drained of color. "You weren't supposed to see it. What does that mean?" I gasped. "What do you know?" He pulled me into the hallway, glanced up the stairwell like he expected something to burst through at any second. "Look," he whispered, holding both of my shoulders as if to steady me. "The worker who fell, he didn't die right away." I blinked. "What?" "He survived the fall. Neck broken. Back broken, couldn't speak, could barely move. But he crawled across the beams for hours before they found him. They said he dragged himself screaming next to the hole in the ceiling right above your bedroom. Like he was trying to warn someone." My stomach twisted. "Warn them of what?" He swallowed hard. "He said something pushed him." A chill crept up my spine. "Pushed him from behind. Something tall. Something he didn't recognize. Something that wasn't supposed to be there." The lights above us flickered. Once. Twice. Then the hallway filled with a deep, creaking sound. The same sound I heard every night. The sound of weight moving above. Except this time, it wasn't coming from the fourth floor. It was coming from the third. Right above us. Right above 3B. Something was inside my apartment. The manager and I froze as the sound drifted directly over my door. Then a sharp, heavy drop, like something landing hard. The manager whispered, voice trembling, "If it came down a floor, we need to leave. Right now." But my phone buzzed in my pocket. A new alert from my indoor camera. Motion detected, 3B. And underneath that, new audio recording saved. I opened it. At first, just static. Then a voice, broken, wet, dragging through static like it hurt to speak. Not human, not possible. It whispered, "Don't leave." I stared at the manager. He stared at me. Then something on the other side of my apartment door scraped, like long fingers sliding down the wood. He whispered, "Whatever's in there, it doesn't want you gone." Then a knock. Slow, heavy. The same knock I heard on the ceiling the night before. 3 knocks. Directly on my apartment door. "You shouldn't be up here." My breath froze in my chest. The voice didn't echo like someone standing in the room. It came from everywhere, like the walls themselves were whispering. I forced myself to turn my head toward the sound. No one, no body. Just that impossible empty room with beams crossing like ribs and dust drifting through cold air. Then the whisper came again closer. "You're standing where I fell?" My knees buckled. I stumbled back, almost tripping over a loose board. My heartbeat pulsed loudly in my ears, but underneath it, I heard something else. Crunch, crunch, footsteps. Right behind me, slow, heavy, wet. I spun around. The footprints were appearing again, right in front of me, this time materializing on the dusty floor, one after another, like someone invisible was walking toward me. Only now, they weren't shoe prints. They were bare feet and bloody. I screamed and ran. I didn't care where. I didn't care how. I just ran. I tore down the hallway, dust exploding under my shoes. But the footsteps behind me sped up heavy thuds, pounding faster, closer, like the thing was chasing me. I burst down the staircase, almost falling the whole way. My ankle twisted, but I didn't stop. I slammed into my apartment door, fumbled with the keys, dropped them, cursed, grabbed them again, and finally got inside. I locked it. Deadbolt, chain, everything. Then I pressed my ear against the door. Silence. For the first time in weeks. Total, absolute silence. I slid down to the floor, shaking hard. My hands were trembling so violently I could barely grip my phone. I didn't call the police. I knew how that would go. Empty apartment? No signs of a break-in? Maybe you're hearing things? No, I needed proof. So I pushed my couch in front of the door, turned on every light, and sat awake until sunrise. I didn't sleep, not even for a second. When morning light finally filled the room, I decided I was done. Done with the building, done with the noise, done with everything. I packed a duffel bag with whatever I could grab and dragged it out into the hallway. I didn't look at the upstairs stairwell. I didn't want to. I just headed straight toward the elevator. But when I reached it, I froze. The elevator doors were halfway open like they'd been forced apart. Inside, smeared across the back wall, were two long, dark streaks, like someone with wet hands had been dragged upward. I backed away slowly and took the stairs instead. The lobby was empty. The building manager wasn't at his desk. For a second, I thought just maybe I'd escape clean. Then the office door cracked open. He stepped out, expression pale, eyes sunken, like he hadn't slept in years. "You went upstairs," he said. My mouth opened. I heard something. "I just wanted to check." "You shouldn't have," he interrupted. "No one is supposed to go there anymore." I swallowed hard. "What happened in that apartment?" He looked at the floor, his jaw clenched. "There was a tenant. Years ago, a man. Lived alone, quiet, until the neighbors started complaining about the same thing you did, footsteps. Only louder, angrier, every night." My stomach twisted. "One night, the footsteps stopped," the manager continued. "So the neighbors thought the man had left. They went to check on him. No answer. They called us. We broke in." He hesitated. "They found him in the bedroom. The floorboards had collapsed under him. The boards were rotten. He fell straight through into the unit below. Broke his neck on impact." My throat went dry. "But," I whispered, "the unit below isn't my apartment." He slowly shook his head. "It was before renovations. They rebuilt the floors, but sometimes sounds don't stay where they happened." My heart sank, cold and heavy. "He still walks," the manager whispered, "up there every night." Trying to find the floor that gave way, I took a shaky step backward. "I'm leaving today, right now." He nodded. "Good. Don't come back after dark." I didn't even bother calling movers. I grabbed what I could, tossed it in my car, and drove away without looking in the rearview mirror. I booked a cheap motel for the night. Small room, ugly carpet, bad lighting, but at least it wasn't that building. I tried sleeping, pulled the thin sheet over myself, closed my eyes. For a while, there was peace. Then at 3:12 a.m., something woke me. Not a sound, a vibration. The floor beneath the bed, shaking slightly. I sat up fast. The room was dark. I held my breath. Then I heard a crunch, 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 footsteps coming from the ceiling. No, coming from above the ceiling. No, coming from inside the ceiling. I stood up slowly, legs trembling. The footsteps grew heavier, closer, faster. Then, bong. The ceiling cracked just a little, but enough to send dust raining down onto the motel carpet. And then I heard him speak again, right above me. "You left before I could finish." I ran out of that motel barefoot, keys in hand, heart slamming against my ribs. I didn't stop running until I reached my car. I sped out of the parking lot like a maniac. I didn't go home. I didn't go to my new place. I didn't go anywhere familiar, because I finally understood something. He wasn't tied to the apartment, or the building, or the floor. He was tied to me. To the moment I responded to the footsteps, to the moment I opened that attic door. Sometimes spirits don't haunt places. Sometimes they haunt listeners. And every night since then, no matter where I sleep, I hear him walking. Slow, heavy, searching, getting closer. Footsteps without feet.